we doing, everyone? It was a great session, D-Man, as always. I've been watching MU very closely. It doesn't appear that you're going to get me today. And that's okay. I'm not going to gloat too much about it. I'll take my win in a classy fashion, right? I don't need to rub it in. How's everyone doing so far today? Is it like drinking through a fire hose, all this information from us? Stay classy. Stay classy, San Diego. Ooh, nice, Paul. 330%. I know. I know you are. If we get any sort of like a run up into the close or a fall into the close, I know I'm in trouble because you're gonna play that either way. What's gonna help me today is nice, smooth, easygoing price action. Nothing too crazy. Tony, not an exact one. I would say I would say a few weeks. Yeah, there's not an exact one. We're working out a couple details, but soon. Yeah, very soon. I played the bounce here off of this breakout level from earlier on the SPY, and I'll be flipping that out earlier. I put it in chat kind of before I came on the on the mic, on the mark. Uh, so I'll be flipping that out here pretty soon on this little bounce. I want to see if we can get up over this point of control level. I still am eyeballing 68.50 as a potential pin for this the end of today. I know that seems like that's somewhat out of the question, and it very well might be. Some gamma exposure levels are growing kind of down below where we are, but this still remains the largest absolute gamma strike for both calls and puts, and I'm just interested to see if that acts as a magnet, especially being quad witching, options expiration week. There's just a lot of factors that make me think that's a possibility. Now it's not. That doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. So don't quote me on it. But that's why I feel like even late in the day, a little bounce play into those highs is a possibility. So I'm playing for that. You got max pain at 67.85. I haven't checked out what max pain is. But I find that max pain is just not really a factor for these things. I mean, sometimes it closes somewhat near, but it really, we used to try and play those max pain moves, and now that I have the gamma exposure information, it just never really seems to be a big factor, which is strange. Okay, so I'm going to keep the SPY SPX up on a different window just to kind of keep my eye on it, because my session this afternoon is on discipline, trading discipline, and psychology. And once we kind of start going down that rabbit hole, I do get distracted. So if I'll try and keep my eye on it over here on a different window, but if we get a push up or rollover in the SPY or the SPX, someone just throw something at me in chat so I know, because I am going to get a little sidetracked, I think. Okay, so sorry if someone already asked how to reset GEX levels. The link that I sent that is also a what do you call that? Nate bot I update that link specifically every day. That's actually this chart right here. So if you have that link, and somebody can put it in here preferably, those should update. If you open it in a browser window and just hit refresh in the morning after the open, they should update for you. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna keep my eye on it, Fog, but that's it's not a terrible idea. Throw virtual tomatoes at me. Okay. So what I want to talk about, and we'll use NEM here as our sort of, I don't know, case study, or when we talk about. So, how many of you put a 5 in chat if you were in my setting a trade plan session on Wednesday when we picked Lulu? Okay, and that one turned into a great winner. It's now been selling off ever since the pop up. But setting a trade plan, right, and coming in and putting your levels in, knowing what your risk reward is, and knowing what your stop out levels are, is a very important tool in having good trade discipline. Okay. So earlier today, we came in and I took off all the lines on NEM and moved it back to when we found it yesterday. And we reset up the trade plan so that everyone could see how that was done, right? And being able to find the levels. Do you guys need me to do that again just for the sake of this presentation? Is that something, or do you feel like everybody knows how and why I have these levels on this chart for this trade? We can even use it. We can even use a new one. We can even set up a brand new one. Let's see what. There was something I really liked earlier. Was it Adobe 78 minute? Yeah, it's sort of this Adobe 78-minute chart I like. But let's reset up NEM, right? That's one that we've been playing. We've taken a little bit of profits in, and this will go into. So this will be a very quick setting up a trade plan, right? Situation, and then we'll move into the psychology portion of setting up a trade plan. Let's continue. Okay, so this is NEM when we were looking at setting it up. Okay, we like this chart. This is in a nice TPS style pattern where we're moving up. We've set a nice spike high. From that spike high, we are now consolidating around the moving averages, and we've got ourselves a nice squeeze down here. This is a 30-minute chart. It also has a 65-minute. So we're going to set up a trade here. Okay, and this will be the third time I've done this, which is great because repetition is key to all these things. So I'm looking for a move up and out of this pattern, right? But I need to know where to set up a buy if I have a good risk reward profile here and what my profit targets are. So I'm going to use volume profile over here and the chart itself, right? And I'm going to come into the bottom area of this large node here, right? That's a value area low. And I'm going to put in a line, okay? So I like to put my value area low in, and then I'm also going to put my point of control. You can see the largest piece of that node there. I like to make that red. I'm going to mark the recent high as a target number 1. I like to make that a green. And then I'm going to use my Fibonacci, I'm going to measure from the high to the low of the pullback, and I'm going to mark the 1272 extension as my target number 2. And then I can get rid of this Fibonacci extension, okay? So we are trading right here, or we were trading right here around point of control. This is the value area low where the chart would break down, and on a 30-minute chart, I am going to wait for a 30-minute candle to close below that to trigger a stop. I'm not going to let just a wick like that take me out, because that's a little bit of a liquidity run, and to run some stops and then bring this right back up into the pattern. So the pattern breaks down here for me at 970. I'm going to use my profit and loss long position right here. I'm going to put the box on, see what my risk and reward is going to look like. I'm going to see that we have a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. I like this trade. I'm going to put this trade on, or I'm going to set up my trade plan, whether that's, okay, I'm going to wait for it to come in and buy somewhere, or I'm going to buy it here, just a little outside of my buy range, but close enough to give me still a decent risk reward. Now, if you want a more detailed version of this, you can go to the recordings. I've done this twice now, so you can. I just kind of sped through that, right? So we decided, I can't remember what we were getting the $100 calls for this week, for next week, because it's a 30-minute chart, and we were taking these yesterday on a Tuesday, so we want to give ourselves a little bit more time. And our plan was, so as we wrote up the plan, let me put that back in here, right? We put our plan on the chart. We're going to buy the 100 Cs for $12.26, and they were at, I can't remember, I think they were at like $2.13 or something like that, right? So that text does not have to be that big, but this is the discipline part of trading, right? So you have developed your trade plan, or you're beginning to develop your trade plan, and that's the step one in the discipline side of trading. When you get to the point where you can do this in your head and you can trust yourself to follow your plan, in my opinion, then you can do it more in your head than you do it on the chart. But I think for everybody that's getting started, this is really important to do these on your chart and write them up, right? So now we need, I need to get rid of that. Now we need a plan in place, okay? So right now we're buying those for $2.13, and we know what our risk reward is. And so we say if price moves up to 102.21, which is that first target, right? Take half. And then if price moves to target 2, which is 103.85, right? You don't have to put the price in. You can put target 1 or target 2. Exit full, right? Now, because this is a little far away from our stop out level, I didn't go full position here, right? I wanted to leave some room if that wanted to come down to this lower support level and improve my risk reward, right? So then if price moves to 97.72, right, or stop area, right, add to position. Okay, if price moves below on a 30, stop. Okay, so what I don't need is that to be 40, right? So there's your trade plan. And this is the discipline of this kind of a thing, right? So I've written this on my chart so that if I come back to it and I say, oh, what's NEM doing? And, we're up here like we are right now. If I were to, fast forward through this, I can say, oh, shoot, what was my plan? Okay, 102.21. Oh, yeah, I'm taking off half. Okay. So as NEM, right, we'll just play it out. NEM came up to our target area, and I did exactly what was in the plan. I took off half, and I'm still holding the other half for a move up through this most recent high, right? So I have followed my plan. Now, what you can do, if you want to get really detailed in your plan, if I've taken off half here, I'll put it here. If taken half off and price retraces, then add. Okay. So if price comes down, I've taken half here, but this is a resistance level. If price comes down into point of control or even into this lower value area, low stop area, I have given myself permission to add if I can get a turn off of those two levels. So I can take off half here, add here, take off half here, add here, take off half here, take off full there, right? That could happen, right? But I know, because I've put a trade plan on my chart, I know what I should be doing and I don't have to guess. Right? These if-then statements are really important. And also knowing your levels. So when your chart comes pulled up, let's say you're not in NEM right now, right? But is this still a good chart? Is NEM still a good chart? Anyone? Yeah, it's still a valid chart. Is it a buy up here? Should we buy it up here? No, probably not. All of a sudden your risk reward is really skewed because you don't want to buy it here. You don't want to buy it here and have to hold through all of this pain because the chart doesn't break down until below here. Right? And then if your target is really there, your risk reward is skewed, right? You have way more risk than you have reward, and that's no way to go through life. Animal House. Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. Right? So here we can set a new trade plan. So wait for 100 C's for 1226. And then this is, if price moves down to POC, take position. Okay? Then if price moves to value area low, add. Right? You always are stopping on a 30-minute chart below that level. And then you can just bring this stuff back in. And then if price moves up to those levels, I was doing this one, wasn't I? Right? So then here's a current trade plan. Oh no. I kind of messed those up, mixed them up. We're waiting here. Right? Wait on the 100 Cs, and if price moves down to the point of control, we're going to take a position. And then I'm going to come in here and right at 100, I'm not necessarily wanting to take it at 100, but right at 100, I'm going to set an alert. So if NEM comes down into the $100 level, I'm going to be watching it for a buy off of this point of control and or this value area low. So if you don't have NEM and you like this chart, now you have a trade plan in place for if it comes down into your level to buy, you're going to be ready. Your alert's going to go off. You're going to open up your chart and you're going to say, okay, I was waiting on the 100 Cs going out to next week, or maybe if it's next week, going out to Friday at point of POC, I'm going to take a position. Great. I know I want to add if it comes down into there. Great. I've got my levels. You don't even have to think. You can just act, right? And the discipline side of this trading is creating the trade plan, marking your chart levels before you ever take the trade. And I know it's super tempting a lot of times to be like, oh, so so-and-so likes this trade, I'm just going to get into it. And you can do that, but then immediately turn around and make sure you make a trade plan, because as soon as you push the button, as soon as you buy it and it's in your account, it's your trade, right? Even though everyone likes to blame me for their trades that don't work, right? That's the running joke in here. I'm totally fine with that. I'll take it. It's your trade, right? Doesn't matter if it was something I suggested or Nate suggested, right? We have to take ownership of it, because who knows if you're going to be in the room when that is exited, both either for profit or for a stop, right? Who knows if it's myself or D-Man and we don't do it in an alert style, and we just kind of type it in chat and you miss it, right? Having your own plan, and it's okay to ask us, hey, I saw you entered NEM, got it for 213. Where's your stop level? Or help me figure out what my target level is. And right, if we're on the mic, we can easily do that for you. And then you can help learn how to build that. Okay, so having that level of discipline, I like to call that the big D, discipline, is really, really important. Are there any questions on the trade plan portion of discipline? Setting the plan? Writing out your if-then statements? I chose 1226 just because this is a 30-minute chart, and I would expect that it's going to resolve itself in the next few days. You could go out further if you wanted to. That's totally fine. Okay, so can anyone tell me what the next part of trading discipline is? And this is the hardest one for everybody to do. Setting up the plan is the easier part of trading discipline. There you go, Vince. Follow the plan. I almost put a word in between those two, or those three. Follow the plan, right? Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. That's a Mike Tyson quote. But if you are not following your plan, you are not going to be a successful trader, right? Yeah, blame Nate G also works. So you can either follow your plan or you can blame me. Either one are effective. I recommend following your plan, but you be you. Do what you need to do, right? So, and what I'm gonna say is gonna start resonating with a lot of people that have had some trading experience. Okay? So this is where we get into discipline and then psychology, because they go hand in hand. You have to have the discipline that once you've set your plan, and I was going to get this put on a t-shirt, and I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit because I can't remember exactly what I said. But is once you're in your trade and you have your plan set, right? Don't change your plan mid-trade, right? Change your planning later. Change how you set up your trade plan later, but in the trade, it's always my recommendation, follow your plan. And if that means you got stopped out too early, follow the plan that you developed, stop out, ask questions. How could you have done that differently? Did you do that, properly? And then revise your plan, revise the way you plan so that your next trade has a better plan. But don't change your plan mid-trade. Right? Because what happens, and it's going to be like I'm looking over your shoulder, is we do two things. Okay? Fear. This is the psychology part. Fear and hope. Now you would think, now I put them in these areas on purpose, right? You would think that the mistake people make is that they're trading on hope when the market's going up and they're fearful when the market's going down, right? Wouldn't that make sense? Logically? We're hopeful, the idea of maybe greed gets in the way, right? So we're hopeful that trade is going to work, and then we're fearful when the trade falls against us. But that's not what happens in our lizard brains. What tends to happen in our lizard brains is that when the trade is working, wow. Let's do this. Let's put them on the chart. When the trade is working, right, we invert those as human beings. And that's why I put them here this way. So, when the trade is going in our direction, like this one is today, right? And it's coming up into here, and we're looking at, well, it's turned around here, and it's turned around here, and oh, remember that trade that I had last week that was just gonna explode and it reversed on me and I lost a bunch of money, but I was in profits and I should have taken it off earlier. So I'm just gonna take this off. I'm gonna take it off here. I'm gonna take it off for my 25%. Right? And you're like, yeah, I logged a 25%er. I'm the best. And then maybe this thing keeps going. Maybe it pulls back for a little while. Nobody knows, right? The market's going to do what the market's going to do. But what did you just trade on if you do that? You traded on fear. You were fearful that you were going to lose those little bit of profits, that 25%. And you took it off early so you could log that win, right? So let's talk about that in reverse. So let's imagine this trade goes for a little bit, starts coming down here, candle goes like this, right? Here's these candles. It's broken the 30-minute. Now you're down 50%, let's say. What do most beginning traders do at this point? 30-minute candle closed. This was your stop out level. You're down 50%. Do they cut it? Most say, dang it, I'm down 50%. That's more than I was willing to risk based on the calculations that I did. Or what most traders have done, they have not made that calculation. They don't know what a stop out is probably going to cost them. And they don't know that there's a level here that they should stop out at because the chart breaks. Because they didn't do the first part, which is discipline. Right? So here, we're like, oh crap. This is our brains as traders. Oh crap. That thing's down 50%. Remember that time a couple weeks ago where I was down like 80% and then I added and it came back and then I was up 50 and I'm God's gift to trading? Let me look for a level to add. All right, well, there's this VP level. So I'm going to let this come down to here and I'm going to add. Okay, so you add and you get a little bounce. And you're like, yeah, buddy, wait, what a minute? What just happened? And you're like, well, okay, so now this is a 75% loser. Like it's almost a complete loss. So I'm just gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold it, and I'm gonna do what? Hope. And you might even get some moves like this. You're like, yeah, let's go. And then, right? Because all this did was break down, retest that level, and continue down. Because the chart was broken here. So when we talk about fear, trading on fear and hope, you have to realize that they're inverse. When the trade's going against you, most beginning traders hope it goes back. Hope it comes back. And then if you're trading options, if you're trading anything, if you're trading options, they're not only going against you, but they are deteriorating in value based on time decay, theta. Right? And when you do have a winner, everybody just, I got to take it off because I've seen it turn before. I've got that fear from that one time that it did turn on me and I didn't take that profit. And so you've taken things off early. So what happens when you do that? Well, if your stop is really down here and your profit target is really here and you put your trade on at this red line, now what's your risk reward? Right? You're risking $5.30 to make $1.50 on the underlying. It is grotesquely skewed. Yeah, it's inverted. Even though your trade plan had a 1 to 2 risk reward. Can I turn that, like rotate it? No, I can't. Let's put a short position on like that. So let's put a simultaneous short position there to there. So your actual trade plan was a 1 to 2. your hope and fear version is actually a 3 to 1 risk to reward. Either way. So if you're 3 to 1, if you're a 3 risk to 1 reward, and you're a 50% accurate trader, are you profitable? No. Yeah. Easy question, right? Angela, stop it. All right, we got a little SPX pushing. Thank you. Yeah, it's doing what I hoped it would, or thought it would. So, what we need to do in the discipline category, right, with our trades, is to honor our stops, right? And so instead of trading on fear and hope, we trade on the plan and the freaking plan. Right? So when this breaks, if the candle comes down here and we get our 30-minute close below our level, we stop out. We can always take another trade, right? We can always take another trade and live to fight another day. That's totally okay. And yes, this very well could actually close below your level. This one didn't, that's a wick, but let's say it did, and then go without you. But if you get good at this, right, you can take a stop here and then watch it come back in, retest, and go. And then you go, thank you very much. I'm going to get back in this right here. And now I captured the move. But you can't do that if you didn't do the disciplined thing of marking up your charts. Because you don't know that that's a breakdown and a reclaim. This is using VP. And the one person who I know that is the master of VP is D-Man. If you want to learn VP, he's your guy. That's who I learned VP from. It pains me very much to give him credit for anything, but he's the man, right? And so the combination of Nate's TPS and D-Man's volume profile and just general ability to read charts and understand how the market works, auction theory, makes these kinds of trades possible, right? Airbnb, we just talked about it. I wasn't in Airbnb prior to what I want you to notice, but what did Airbnb do based on my value area high and low marks? What did it do here? It's an awful set of lines, but I can even give it a little bit better of a picture. Broke down in what? Brown and reclaim. I'm going to start using that. Yeah, we broke the pattern in this area, tried to reclaim, broke again, back, perfect reclaim. We took that late in the day yesterday, and boom. Right? So if you were in this up here, okay, stop out, fine. If it wants to go this way, I'm not caught in that. That's a terrible arrow. If it wants to come back, well, no, it's not going to reclaim. It's going to fall over. Boom, there's a reclaim. Buy and go. Yeah, POC in this one is harder, right? But all the major volume is, I mean, this POC is here, basically. All the major volume is below. So once you break back up into it, You've got all this support below you for that move up. Yeah, that does sound dirty, doesn't it? So if you've ever done that on a name where you have taken off profits too early, or, and I guarantee everyone in here who's been trading for a little bit has done the hope, trading on hope, right? It's better, you'll find that it's better to trade your plan and then revise your planning later than it is to let these trades break down and try and bounce them or hope they'll come back. That's where you get your 100% winners or options expiring worthless, right? And then you can always revise the way you plan. Say, oh man, I didn't make a good plan there. Like, I need to improve my chart reading to understand where the chart breaks down. Or I need to improve my risk reward because for that to come all the way down to stop, I'm already at 50%, and that's more than I'm willing to risk, right? Does anybody have any questions on that? That's how the trader's brain works. Until you can override that and flip it, essentially, so that if the trade's going against you and it's at your your breakdown level, trade with fear, cut it. You can always get back into it. And then on the way up, if you've set profit targets, hope that it gets there, right? Give it time to play out. You can also help, D-Man talks about the lizard brain, and I know he'll do a psychology session, um, you know, probably next week for all the new members, is my guess. But we talk about, and he talks extensively about the lizard brain, right? And how to, your lizard brain is the one that's fearful on the way up and hoping on the way down, right? It's the thing that protects us when we live in, back when our mammalian days or whatever, when we were having to fight for our life and fight for our food and all that kind of stuff. Those emotions and feelings are still part of our psychology, and knowing that that's what your brain is doing and overriding that feeling is really important and key to being a good trader. Vince brought up FOMO. I mean, there's also, you see, Nate hitting 100% lottos on a Friday, or on Wednesday I hit the 600% winner on Lulu, and you're like, as a trader, you can be seeing all of that happening and going, I didn't take that trade? So because Nate just hit a 600% winner, that must mean that his next trade is going to be that big. So I'm going to jump into that, whether it's in a good position to be jumped into or not when I see it, right? And that's called FOMO, that fear of missing out. The chance that the next trade that I took after Lulu was going to be another 600%er was real slim. And of course it didn't happen, right? The next one I took after Lulu, I don't know, was probably a sniper that I got 15% on, or even what did we get? NEM, I think we took off for 50% up here, or what was the other one we had on today? Airbnb, right? That was 75%. But the thought and the idea of, oh my God, that next one, I don't want to miss it. I'm going to take an outsized size position, or I'm going to do something, that's outside of my risk parameters or comfort level, right? There's people in here that trade with large size. There's people in here that trade with very small size. And that just comes down to you as a trader and what you're comfortable with and your account size and your risk tolerance. Everybody's different, right? So each one of these needs to be yours when you put it on, that you can be comfortable with, right? That you can weather that storm if it starts going against you. Any questions? I got about 15 more minutes. Yeah, you also don't want to. If you had a huge win yesterday after I hit Lulu, I didn't. I actually sized down in terms of what I would normally be putting on, because I knew that my risk appetite was changed. My brain chemistry was changed because that was such a massive hit overnight. Took it off, 3 minutes into the open. And just understanding that your risk appetite changes when that happens is pretty important. And a lot of us have to, at the beginning, have to make those mistakes. 6850 remains the largest gamma exposure level. I don't know how it gets there, but it remains the largest, both from a open interest standpoint, very closely in second place on a daily volume standpoint. We're in a positive gamma environment. I don't know. I wonder if we can get if we can break previous high, we get a little push maybe. I don't know. Seems unlikely, but with, an hour and 10 minutes left. Was that helpful, the psychology discussion, for anyone? Angela, yeah, I'll go over fibs next week if you want. I don't think I want to put that into the last 10 minutes of a discipline and psychology lesson. Yeah, and this is the kind of thing that I had to hear over and over and over and over again. Yeah, coach, those are, well, especially us sniper players uh, know, when you have a bad sniper day, it can really kick you right in the gut. Luckily, they don't happen too often, but when they do, man, whoo, baby. Especially if you're doing SPX, yowza. Yeah, and you'll also learn, like, there's, if I have a day where I've lost money in the market, and I'm going on about the rest of my day. I'm on the West Coast, so I'm done at 1. and I go on with the rest of my day, and I'm out in the real world, and I'm grumpy, and I'm kind of snippy with my family, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? And then I'm like, oh, I had a bad day in the market. It affects my psychology for the rest of the day and even into sleep, right? But it also affects your psychology the other way. Like, I'm just bebopping around feeling good, and I'm like, why do I feel so good? Oh, because I smoked it in the market today, right? But learning to sort of balance those things and not let you get too excited. I can't tell you. I mean, a couple of minutes left here, but from a psychology perspective, when I was trying to find edges that I liked and trying to figure out the win rate and kind of how that would be, and many of you are going to relate to this, is I'd have a good day or a couple of good days or a good month or whatever, and I'd be like, okay, if I could do that every day, or if I could do that every week, and I do the math, right? That's X amount of dollars. That's a living, right? I could do that. The very day I would start calculating that in my head and be like, okay, yeah, that's a X salary. That's perfect. The very next day, I, without question, would get a massive beatdown. And then I'd be like, well, yeah, that's not going to work. And then, and you start having a couple more winning days, and then you start getting back into that mindset of, oh yeah, this is no problem. Like, if I could just do this every month, because I just did that last month. It seems so easy. And then as soon as I'd calculate it out on paper, I'd sit there after the market and think, God, yeah, this could really, I got it. I got it. The next day I would take a massive hit, and it's just that psychology, right? And you just have to be aware of that. So now, I don't let myself think about those things. You heard D-Man the other day say that he doesn't come in with a percent profit target in mind, and that's the truest thing you could say, because if you do that, you're going to disappoint yourself, right? You just come in and do what you can do what the market gives you on that day, and don't get locked into I have to do this today, or I have to do this week, because your brain will make you take positions or risk that's outside of your normal parameters. You just come in and do what is repeatable at size that is manageable, and you can always obviously grow that over time, but that's how you come in and be the successful trader that you can be, right? Having these outsized targets, or you just, if you're not close to them, you start to panic, right? So anyway, I want to kind of close that out with the idea that being in an environment like this with other traders and other people that are doing the same thing, that are going through the same emotions, it's an absolute game changer. And it's so much better than sitting there behind the computer in your office or at your home or wherever you are and trying to get through these emotions, get through the highs, get through the lows, being able to ask people like Nate and D-Man if, hey, I did this and it didn't work, or I did this and it did work. Do you think I did the right thing? Like, do you have any feedback? Like, we can't tell you what to do, and we're not going to, because it's not morally or ethically the right thing. But we can be like, oh, I see what you did here. Yeah, I think that was probably a smart play, or this is what I would have done differently. You can accelerate that learning process versus having to sit there and go, I don't know why that didn't work, so I guess I'm going to have to go make that mistake 4, 5 more times to understand why that didn't work, right? You can get that feedback, and somebody can help you speed up that learning curve, right? Especially when it comes to psychology. And if you're not in a community, just trading by yourself at home can be lonely, right? There's no one to bounce ideas off of. There's no one to share in successes with. So having a community like this is, I choose to be here because I like it. I mean, I love teaching as well. I love helping people do something that I also love to do, or teaching them to do something that I also love to do. But just the community, coming in every morning and throwing in some dad jokes, making fun of Nate Bear, having some sort of competition that I'm probably going to lose with D-Man. You know, that I look forward to that every morning, especially when on this West Coast, sorry, we have to get up so dang early for the market. It makes it worth it. So hope to see you in here with us. Last day of the open house. I hope you've had fun and learned something, learned maybe many things, if that's possible. But I know we have our Three Amigos session. It's probably just sort of an open question session with the three of us. We'll try our very best to make fun of each other as best as possible, because that's what we do best. And I hope to see you guys in here on Monday. All right, I'm going to hand it back to Nate.